Well, I think, yes. I mean, personally, and as I said to you, the royal family is the glue, or the government, or the king is the glue. Now, you have to remember also that King Abdullah, on a personal level, is very much loved, and I say it very openly. He's loved by the people. He would like to do a few things, but then at the same time, you have to systemize what one is doing. I think they will hold. I think people would understand there's a lot at stake. The country, I mean, is a large country with different people, even the cultures and the subcultures of people, for instance, from Jeddah or Qasim or the north and the south are so different. You need a pillar, but at the same time, you need a pillar that has to be re-anointed. You need one that really should stand. And also, the idea is to listen to people. And I wish the government would listen more, because by doing that, you come to terms for something that's going to happen in the coming few years. OK, we have to leave it there. Thanks to our guests, Abdulaziz Al-Khamis, Mai Yamani and Khalid Al-Maina on the phone. And thank you so much for joining us here on this edition of Inside Story. We, of course, welcome your comments and your suggestions. Please email them to us at insidestory@aljazeera.net. From the whole team here, goodbye for now.
Leaders are remembered, be they loved or feared. Alone they are inscribed on the pages of history. But what of the men and women whose hands build their monuments and whose blood stains their battlefields? The people who, against all odds, wield the power to reshape history. People in power at this time on Al Jazeera.
احنا الجزيرة الإنجليزي عم نسأل الناس ليش جايين اليوم.
Wherever the news, whatever the story. Al Jazeera.
A history of guerrilla warfare. A place on the global stage. They were an organization created for a stateless population. But before fighting for their land, why did the PLO fight for independence from their Arab neighbors? Chronicling the turbulent story of the struggle for a Palestinian homeland, PLO, History of a Revolution, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Afghanistan is faced with a huge challenge.
Relations have gone really sour between us and our allies.
We have inflicted considerable damage on the enemy.
The people who make international headlines.
Ultimately, the truth will out.
They want to stop this publication of information that embarrasses them.
Make time for Sir David Frost. Frost over the world. At this time on Al Jazeera.
Holding their nerve but losing some ground. Libya's rebels are hit hard by Gaddafi's forces. Hello and welcome to Al Jazeera live from Doha. I'm Imran Garda. We'll have a report from one of Libya's key battlegrounds in a moment. Plus, watching over Libya 24 hours a day as NATO steps up surveillance, we'll look at the military options. In other news, change in Tunisia. A new caretaker government disbands the country's hated secret police. And Côte d'Ivoire's strife is far from over. We meet the men who say they'll die to keep Laurent Gbagbo president. Tonight in Libya, it looks like the rebels trying to topple Colonel Gaddafi are in trouble. As they move closer to the Libyan leader's strongholds, they've been hit hard. In the west, close to the capital Tripoli, they've lost control of Zawiya. After intense fighting, they still hold Misrata, which is their only significant foothold in the west of the country. It's a key town halfway to Sirte, which is Gaddafi's birthplace, where he has a whole lot of support. Our sources tell us Gaddafi's been sending reinforcements over here. Further east, rebel positions have been pounded in Ras Lanouf and the nearby town of Bin Jawad. Tony Bertley is there for us.
In the shifting sands of north-central Libya, the confusion of conflict is sweeping through the rebellion, where it has reached and where it is going. The mass build-up of men and heavy weapons continues from the rebel side, and men of all ages and from all backgrounds have answered the call to arms. The new front line is near here in the small town of Bin Jawad, where the momentum of the rebel advance has been halted by Gaddafi's forces.
They stay in the house and take all the families in front of them and start to shoot us. So that make us get behind a little. We can't shoot, because if we shoot, it's a random. If we shoot, we may kill some of the families.
But it's an unpredictable area where accurate information is scarce. Territory is changing hands frequently, and the threat of infiltration and counterattack is high. The speed and relative ease it took the rebels to reach her has taken everyone by surprise. Gaddafi's hardcore, well-trained units are about 180 kilometres down this road. They are said to be equipped with a vast array of high-tech weaponry, and those with military knowledge are wondering when and not if they're going to use it. Gaddafi forces have been spotted in the area, and although opposition fighters seem unfazed, locals are aware of what lies ahead.
What about if they go to Sirte? And Sirte people, 100% they are waiting for these people. Really, I didn't know, maybe people without, they cut the half of them.
The nearby town of Ras Lanuf has changed hands several times. It's now held by the rebels. According to locals, Gaddafi's men simply withdrew. Now most here are leaving, fearful of what is going to happen.
We are stuck in the middle between both sides and don't know where the bombs are coming from.
What started as a civil uprising is developing into an armed struggle, but not yet a civil war that many fear. The sound of jets above sends the rebels into defence mode, firing widely into the air at a target they cannot see.
There's a military plan. We're afraid of him. Let him, we come here to die.
But only 2 bombs that we know of were dropped, and both missed the large concentrations of fighters and hit the desert, and no one was hurt. Some are wondering whether the pilots are deliberately missing in sympathy with the rebellion. It's one of the many puzzling aspects to this conflict. Fighters, though, say Bin Jawad is only a temporary hold-up. They are preparing to take the fight onwards through Sirte, then Misrata, and then finally Tripoli. No one here, however, predicts what tomorrow may bring. Tony Bertley, AlJazeera, near Bin Jawad, north-central Libya.
The Libyan foreign minister says that the rebels are getting help from Al-Qaeda.
Go back to your files and you will find they were in Guantanamo, and now they're fighting in the eastern part of Libya. This group lives in the same region. I'm telling you, there is Al-Qaeda. This is clear evidence. Their files are in Guantanamo.
Well, an increasing number of rebel leaders are calling for international help with their